Welcome back to Cooking with Sonja. Today I'm sharing an easy cream horn recipe, also known as Šamrole, a classic European dessert that's flaky, golden, and filled with sweet, creamy goodness. We're using store-bought puff pastry to keep things super simple, but the results are bakery quality. If you love quick and delicious desserts, you're going to want to try this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a cozy treat from my kitchen. Let's get baking. Here's what you'll need for this recipe. I'm making a bigger batch, about 50 cream horns, so I'm using 2 packages of butter puff pastry from the Irresistibles brand, but honestly you can use any frozen puff pastry your local grocery store carries. I recommend using the kind that comes rolled in sheets. It's a huge time saver compared to the block ones you have to roll out yourself. You'll also need 35% whipping cream. You'll also need a non-stick cooking spray. I'm using Pam. And of course you're going to need cream horn molds. Mine were handmade by a family member in Europe, but I'll link some similar ones you can order if you'd like. Also, icing sugar, vanilla extract, and a whipped cream stabilizer that gives the filling that light, fluffy texture that holds up beautifully. Let's start with the puff pastry. Since it comes frozen, make sure to tie it according to the package, either in the fridge overnight or on the counter for a few hours. Lightly flour your surface, unroll the pastry, and cut it into even strips. Aim for consistency so your cream horns bake evenly. And don't worry if it's not perfect. Mine didn't cooperate at first either, but they still turned out amazing. If you'd prefer to make your own dough for these cream horns, you can absolutely do that. A classic puff pastry or even a rough puff dough will work beautifully. Just keep in mind, puff pastry is a labor of love that I'm very intimidated by, and it takes a bit of time with all the folding and chilling, but a buttery, flaky result is worth it if you want to give it a try. The best part is you can prep ahead. The dough can be made up to 3 days in advance. Just wrap it tightly in plastic wrap and store it in the fridge or freezer. Freeze it if you're prepping even earlier. And here's a great time saver also. You can bake the pastry shells a few days before your party. Once they've completely cooled, store them in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 3 days. If you want to keep them even longer, pop them into a freezer-safe container or bag and freeze for up to a month. Just be sure they're well protected so they stay crisp. Then on the day of your event, simply whip up your cream and fill them fresh. These cream horns are always a hit. They're flaky, creamy, and guaranteed to disappear first at any dessert table. Now spray your cream horn molds really well with non-stick cooking spray. It is a super important step because the pastry will stick otherwise. I found that cooking spray works even better than oil for easy release. Take each strip and wrap it around the mold, slightly overlapping the edges. This helps prevent gaps when the pastry puffs up. Quick reminder, if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow and lets me keep sharing cozy, delicious recipes like this one. Once they're wrapped and ready, pop them into a preheated oven at 400 Fahrenheit or 200 Celsius and bake for about 20 minutes, or until they're lightly golden and puffed. I like to skip the egg wash for a lighter color, but you can brush them if you prefer that rich golden finish. After baking, let them cool just enough to handle. Then gently remove the molds and let the pastry shells cool completely before filling. Now let's make that cream filling. For this batch, I'm using 1 liter of 35% whipping cream, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 3 tablespoons of icing sugar, and 4 packets of Whip-It. Just whip everything together like you would for regular whipped cream. Beat until soft peaks form. When you can turn your bowl upside down and nothing falls out, you know it's ready. To fill the horns, I'm using a Pampered Chef pastry filler, but a piping bag or a Ziploc bag with the tip cut off works perfectly too. Pipe the cream into each horn until beautifully full. Finish them off with a generous dusting of icing sugar, and that's it. Your flaky cream Šamrole are ready to enjoy. The full written recipe with all the details is on the blog. I've linked it down below in the description box. If you make these, I'd love to hear how they turned out. Leave me a comment, tag me on Instagram, or share a pic. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Cooking with Sonja, and tap that bell so you never miss a cozy dessert idea or seasonal kitchen inspiration. Thanks for baking with me. See you next time with another delicious recipe.